what's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Fledivicarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and today we're going to rank the albums of Converge. And hey, if you'd like to be kept up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. Alright, this is another one I've been putting off for a little while just because it's a really difficult one for me because I love all of these albums, and so ranking them is a challenge. And then 2, because I was holding out to see if they would drop a new album. With my luck, the moment this video goes up, they'll probably announce something. But it does seem like we're about to. In any case, we're going to start right from the beginning with Halo in a Haystack. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop that at C tier. For a debut album, it's worth listening to, but I don't really go back and re-listen to it a lot. I do on occasion. It's more of a curiosity. It's kind of interesting to see where the band started. It's got some interesting moments. The songwriting's kind of diverse too. Kind of emo-y tracks on here almost, I would say. It's a little bit weird. Check it out if you haven't. It's interesting, but definitely not one of their best for sure. I don't even have that in my collection just because I listen to it so little, but I start really with Petitioning the Empty Sky is to me kind of their first kind of official album with more the Converge sound. And this one's got some good moments, especially opening track, The Saddest Way. That intro is so good. This is their early, just raw, super aggressive, but already, like, hearing that just classic Converge sound coming out, especially in Jacob Bannon's, like, wounded bird vocals, as I've heard them coined, and I think that is the perfect way to describe it. And, yeah, there's some other good tracks on here. A little bit inconsistent. I like the last track probably the most. I like that backing guitar melody. Those are probably my 2 favorite tracks. And then, yeah, some good moments in the middle. Ooh, man. Sounds like shit's just getting burned down. In fact, I'm going to upgrade the ranking on this one. Maybe even add that to one of my loved tracks. See, this is what makes it so hard. Like, even when I think I've got it down, man, those D beats too. Yeah, lots of good stuff on here. But I'm still going to put it, and this may be upsetting to some people, I'm going to put it at C tier. Call this one like a C+. And again, within the context, the greater context of the Converge discography. I wouldn't call this like necessarily a C grade album if I was rating it within just the context of music. But within the discography, if I'm going to differentiate these at all, we'll call the debut like a C, C-, and we'll call this one a C+. And that brings us to When Forever Comes Crashing Down. I love this artwork too. It's one of my favorite artworks from them. And another just raw early sound one, but I like this one a little bit better. This opening again. They know how to kick off albums, man. Yeah, My Unsaid Everything is a great track. Another album I find to be a little bit inconsistent. Love Tear of the Swine. Man, those drums, listen to that. Just all over the place. God, that's so good. It's one of those things where, like, every time I listen, I pick up on new things. Yeah, lots of just interesting detours, too. Got these, like, slower moments. Definitely kind of, like, figuring things out. It's a solid album. Again, not one that I re-listen to as regularly as some of the others. But it's pretty cool. 1998, like, already sort of carving out their niche and just being unique within the genre where it would be really easy to just kind of sound like everyone else. I'm going to put this at B tier. Call it like a B- overall. Again, within context of the discography. And then we're going to chug forward to Jane Doe. Now, obviously, this is a monumental album. Even people who don't particularly know Converge have, like, they know this cover because they've seen it at some point. But of course, like, it deserves all the praise that it gets. This is an incredible album and a monument of an album. Fun fact, too, it did not chart when it came out. It wasn't until kind of after the fact that it gained its cult status, but pretty much every song on here is a banger. Another great opener with Concubine. Man, that transition to Jacob's just like so wrecked on this album, and rightly so given the lyrical context of everything that's going on here. Fault and Fracture, incredible. Distance and Meaning, like all of these tracks have huge hooks too. When the drums just sound so crisp. I'm in awe too of like how, you know, every track is like single worthy, but then also the larger album as a whole just makes up this very conceptual, atmospheric kind of piece and comes together. Homewrecker, just another just straight rager of a track. The Broken Vow, again, just hook after hook after hook, and the drums sound ridiculous. Vocals are raw, like everybody in their prime. Yeah, Bitter and Then Some, Heaven in Her Arms. Incredible work across the board, and, you know, leading into like some really crazy moments with like Phoenix in Flames is just like literally sounds like them burning on stage. And of course the big massive closer, Jane Doe, 11 plus minute track. This big powerful crescendo for it to all close on. Again, like it's easy to meme on this album, and it's like you could call it overrated, I suppose, but at the same time it deserves all the praise it gets, if you ask me. When it really comes down to it, you sit down and listen to it. You can't deny its power. It's S tier easily. That could be a very basic bitch kind of statement, but it is what it is. But enough jabbering, let's move on to You Fail Me in 2004. And this album, like, in many ways is just as good as Jane Doe. I feel like when you talk to Converge fans, everybody recognizes how amazing this album is, but it doesn't get the same, like, credit that Jane Doe does. You don't see this hand floating around on merch and everything everywhere. But, you know, how do you follow up the album that really kind of kicked off your mainstream success? The answer is you kind of just go a completely different direction. Like, this album just has a completely different tone, but I love this, again, great openings, but instead of kicking in the door, you got this big mournful, like, it's almost as if they're saying, like, yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a different album. We got that first light leading into last lights. I need you to be the strength. And again, the drums. It's just ridiculous. Jacob sounds like he's ready to cry. The guitars sound a little different too. They're a little bit more like post-metal-y in a weird way. But yeah, and that's just kicking things off though. You know, we got Dropout, more great riffs. That little break there kills me, I love it. Hope Street. Like I was saying with Jane Doe, how like it still forms a larger picture. It's kind of similar on this one, but in a different way, where it's like these tracks are like almost grindy in how heavy they are, and yet I still think of this album as this very sad kind of affair. Heartless, title track, this big like sludgy, kind of gnarly riff gives me the stank face. The bass kicks in with that little feedback kick at the end too. Love this one. Eagles Become Vultures too. So many amazing tracks on here. And yeah, this one deserves S tier, honestly, just as much as Jane Doe. They're really neck and neck. Like, there's been plenty of times where I called You Fail Me my favorite Converge album. These two are very different, but kind of interchangeable in terms of how much I re-listen to them. Alright, let's move forward to No Heroes in 2006, and I don't know if it was just my love of You Fail Me or what, but when this album came out, I didn't really like it. Like, in fact, I kind of disliked it for some time, but it has grown on me a lot since then. And, like, I don't understand exactly why I didn't like it as much, but this Heartache riff is a great opener. Hellbound, isn't that bass? Just a punky, kind of like old school punk sounding track almost, with the bass and the D-beat. Yeah. Those wailing guitars, man. Kurt just unleashing a just massacre of those those wails. Title track is great. Like, you can't say anything bad about this one. Lone Wolves. Cool little post-hardcore vocals on the beginning with that cyclical guitar riff. Very catchy. Versus. Trophy Scars. I love that interlude, man. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, like I was saying, I spend so much time with Kurt paying attention to his riffs, which are undeniably fantastic, that I forget sometimes how incredible the drumming is. I really can't say enough about how good it is. But yeah, No Heroes, solid album. Took me a little while to get into it. I'm going to put that one at B tier, call it a B+. Definitely, you know, big step above When Forever Comes Crashing Down, but I got to differentiate these things somehow, y'all. I even considered doing what I did with the Dillinger Escape Plan list, where I just sort of modify the whole thing, but it ends up working out. Let's go to Axe to Fall in 2009. Now, alternatively, I hear a lot of Converge people kind of list this as one of their least favorites. Maybe it's just the circles I'm running in, but it surprises me because I really like this album. Like, I think there's so much good on here. And whereas the last album was a little bit more inconsistent, despite having a lot of tracks, this one also has a lot of tracks, but they're all really good. And yeah, Dark Horse is just another great intro. That riff is just one of their best. Like, honestly, I'd put this in their top 10 tracks probably. Reap What You Sow. I remember when they were putting up teasers for this album, and they were just putting up little, like, quick clips of them playing parts of it live. And man, I was like, oh fuck. Like, this is gonna be a rager and a half. Yeah, the title track too. This is just, again, another... I mean, my whole review of this discography will just be me imitating guitar lines in a very cringy way, but I can't help it. Like, I literally cannot listen to Converge without doing that. Wishing Well, another solid one. I'm kind of skipping over some of the, like, there's some slow, kind of sludgy moments on here, too. Like Damages. Damages is a really solid track, too. Definitely different. At least the intro, and then it tips over the cliff to this chuggy part and really picks up again. More great harmonics on this one. Just grimy, aggressive. Deadbeat is great. More great drums in that intro. Cutter. Just super chuggy, almost like thrashy sounding song on this one. Slave Driver. There's that groovy bass on that one. But yeah, I don't know what people are talking about. And maybe it's just a handful of people that I know, but they're crazy, man. This album's amazing. I give it A tier for sure. One of my favorites to go back and re-listen to, and I was stoked on it when it came out, still stoked on it now. All right, 2012, we got All We Love, We Leave Behind, and I was like, I don't know, man, can this band keep it up? They've been at it for a long time now. This is their third decade of existence. Is this going to be good? And yes, it is. Like, this is just another top tier album. Like, knocked it out of the park. It's even better than Axe to Fall. In fact, I think from this point forward, like, every album just, like, gets better than the last one. And again, this is why I was... Jacob's vocals and lyrics on this one, too. Just so much, like, passion and, again, sadness. Again, the music video came out for this ahead of the album, and I was just blown away. I was like, what am I going to do with myself when I listen to it? Trespasses... Tender Abuse, like, pretty much every song on this album is just utterly destructive, memorable. It's a super fast album, too, like, and that's saying something, because Converge is always fast. But just taking it to another degree, and then they know when to slow things down, too, with Sadness Comes Home. This big bluesy riff, Kurt bringing in that just attitude, and then boom! God, those chugs sound so good, too, with the little Sparrows Fall. Then we got A Glacial Pace for, again, another kind of more dynamic, atmospheric direction. More great drums. God, just... It's just so hard to... so hard to rank these, y'all. Again, it's a discography that kind of, like, scared me for a long time. thinking about trying to talk through these, but there's so much good to say. I kind of wish I could just sit here and like stream me listening to all the albums in order. The title track too, man. That bass with the drums leading into this guitar riff, and this is almost like as good of a kind of like end moment as Jane Doe. Yes, me. Builds up to this big, just epic conclusion. So good. Incredible. A tier. Almost S tier. Again, I'm trying to like leave S tier for the absolute like legendary classics, but it really is difficult. So I'm going to put that one at A tier. We'll call Axe to Fall like an A minus, and this is a really solid A. All right, and then last but not least, at least at the time of recording this, we've got the Dusk in Us in 2017. Again, I was still kind of questioning, like, can the band still pull it off? Can they keep up the momentum? And absolutely they do. Another just incredible album. This a single tier with the music video too. Like, there's a lot of fatherhood elements coming into this song and this whole album, and that resonated with me deeply because, you know, I've been going through a lot of stuff as a father myself too. So it's a bit of a tearjerker, honestly. Like, there are moments on this album that genuinely make me want to cry. The slow part. I could do a whole video probably just on this song. These notes at the end, man, I'm getting goosebumps just listening. God damn. Anyways, I'll spare you all that. Eye of the Quarrel. Under Duress. Which is a song that I kind of resisted at first for whatever reason. But it's just a really fun, kind of slower track. I'm doing it again. I'm imitating the guitar. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Yes. Under Duress. More great, memorable riffs. Like, how, Kurt, are you ever going to run out of riffs? And then producing banger albums, too, in between your own recordings. I Can Tell You About Pain. Great single. Leading up to this album, too. It's really interesting. Some of these riffs, like, have a really weird, like, essence to them and timing to them that make you bang your head in a really weird way. Like, I don't think of Converge as a, like, bang your head like this band. It's more like, you're, like, getting your head jerked around on your shoulders. Merc and Marrow, a more kind of weird atmospheric track that builds up. Broken by Light. More great. D-Beats, incredible. I just can't believe how consistent these guys have been. Like, they're one of the most consistent bands out there and in my collection. I almost put that at S tier. I'm going to, again, just leave S tier just for these two. Let them have their day, because they still have that kind of legendary status. These ones haven't necessarily built up that legacy time frame yet, but time will tell. But yeah, I'm going to put that at A. And it's really, again, kind of like these two are neck and neck. These two are neck and neck too. And yeah, those are my Converge rankings. If you want to hear how it just goes in order, taking the tiers out of it. Again, it's right to left like I always do it. So dun 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 dun. Like, those last two segments are really tough. These are definitely like my top 4, with this being a really close 5th. And yeah, man, Converge, you know, regardless of how you rank them, they're all amazing. Like, I'm not going to argue with you if you like some of my lower albums better. Like, the point of this video is that Converge is incredible. If you don't listen to them, you need to get on that. So now it's your turn in the comments. Let me know how you would rank Converge. What's your favorite Converge album? What's your least favorite album, and why? Let's get a conversation going. And please stick around. I got plenty more videos coming right after this one. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.